Houston Texans fans, pick up a hobby, okay? Do something, all right? Root for another team. Don't root for another team, okay? Don't do that, okay? Stick with your boys, okay? I was there pre and post Jamarcus Russell for the Raiders. Texans fans, don't go anywhere. What is up, everyone? It is Jake with Master Football, back at it again. Happy Monday, ready to go after. I know we had the 4-day week a couple weeks ago, but back to a full week. But anyways, I'm here to fill the void for all your football needs. All right, before we get started, please, everyone, please subscribe to the channel. I really, really appreciate it. Please like the video. Please share it with your friends. Do any of those three, and I would really appreciate it. If you do all three, you're on fire, man. Anyways, thank you so much. Please do all that. I hope I earned your subscription, but let's get in the video. Okay, we continue on today with our division previews. So 21 division previews of the NFL. We did the NFC East first, AFC East, NFC South, and now we are doing the AFC South. The AFC South has two halves and two have-nots right now. Now, the two halves are kind of jockeying for position, and the two have-nots are going in opposite directions. So we have the Titans, who won the division last year. They won the division playing at the Texans last year, Week 17. And we also have the Colts. Both of those teams went 11-5. We have the Jaguars, and then we have the Texans. So this division is kind of crazy because, I mean, again, foreshadowing, sorry. Houston Texans fans, okay, it's rough right now. Okay, stick with it because this next year is going to be a couple-year process to get this thing turned around. But I do think that they're going to be able to potentially do that. But let's get into our review of the division, starting off with the 2020 results. So here we see this was the 2020-2021 season results. So the Titans, ultimately, like I said, they went 11-5. Colts went 11-5. Texans went to 4-12, and the Jaguars went to 1-15. Now, the only solace for the Jaguars was that meant they got Trevor Lawrence. The Texans have ultimately, we don't know if they've lost Deshaun Watson, but we're not sure how ingrained in their future plans he is. But we also see the Titans and the Colts still there. Titans were able to win the division, did some work in the playoffs, but ultimately they did not win the Super Bowl. But I do think there's a lot of potential in this division, despite the fact that this is one of the newer divisions in the NFL. Okay, that was the 2020 results. Now let's check out the biggest losses. So for the teams right now, the biggest losses, I would have gone Phillip Rivers for the Colts, but foreshadowing, there's an addition to it that's going to kind of negate that. But the big loss for the Colts was Anthony Castonzo. Anthony Castonzo was a 10-year player for them, 10-year starter at left tackle. Very good out of Boston College. Ultimately signed a 2-year deal before the season started, but then came out and he was just like, you know what, I'm getting injured too much. I can't play. I'm out. So Anthony Castonzo was a big loss for them, starter at left tackle for the last 10 years. No offense to the Jaguars, but they didn't have a lot of talent to lose. They were ultimately 1-15. Of those players that I felt like was a salvageable player on other teams was Keelan Cole. Keelan Cole decided to go to the New York Jets. He had 600 yards and 5 touchdowns. So solid production. Again, it's the Jaguars. They're 1-15. There's not a lot of production to go around, but he is going to be an adequate member of the Jets, whatever that is going forward. For the Texans, and this one has a huge asterisk around it because we just don't know what's going to go on with the personal situation with him. But as of right now, you cannot not say Deshaun Watson, okay? Even if the legalities come to an end, there still is probably going to be some sort of an NFL suspension coming his way. So I wouldn't be surprised if all of 2021 is lost for him. That is a huge hurt. I mean, they were 4-12 with Deshaun Watson. Imagine what they're going to be without him. And then a big loss for the Titans. Of all the losses that they had, I think Arthur Smith is a big one. That's a big one. That one was close, but I'm going to go with Corey Davis. You can't replace that kind of talent very easily, and ultimately we'll see actually foreshadowing that they were able to replace it, but not very easily. Corey Davis, solid player, went to the New York Jets too. Those New York Jets, man, they just love them some AFC South receivers. But big loss for them. In addition, I would say Arthur Smith is probably tied there, but I'm going to go with the player over the coach. But yeah, that's about it for those guys. For the biggest additions, so I, like an idiot, almost said it was Eric Fisher because Eric Fisher was signed by the Colts. He was a left tackle from the Chiefs. I mean, we saw the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Without Eric Fisher out there on the field, they had a lot of trouble. He's a very, very good player, very, very underrated. But it's got to be Carson Wentz, man. I mean, it's Carson Wentz. Even if Carson Wentz plays okay, that is a massive boon to them. I mean, they had Phillip Rivers out there. Phillip Rivers was clearly he could execute plays, but he just had an issue with just just like he wasn't dynamic at all at quarterback. Carson Wentz is a little bit more dynamic. I mean, Carson Wentz carried that team in 2019. 2020 had some injuries, had some things come up, had some there apparently was a whole bunch of drama we didn't know about, and ultimately they decided to get rid of him. For the Jaguars, it's Trevor Lawrence. I mean, this guy's a once every 10, 15-year kind of player. I mean, we saw, maybe you could say Andrew Luck is in that category, but this guy right here he's so physically imposing that it's going to be hard for them to mess this up. I know it's the Jaguars. I know. But it's going to be hard for them to mess this up. I think that he's got a bright future wherever that is, and whether or not that means wins or losses for his team. But I think he's going to be a very productive player in this league for a long time. All right, the biggest addition for the Texans is Nick Caserio. Now, I know people are already mad at him because he didn't call Deshaun Watson to involve him in the head coaching choice, and the ownership didn't call him when they were talking about getting Nick Caserio. There was a lot of things going there. I know there's some drama there, but the thing about Nick Caserio is he is a normal GM. They had a coach as a GM, and that coach was trading star receivers for second-round picks and bad contracts. He was doing a ton of just dumb things. Now they're returned to normalcy. I think that's a huge addition. It's honestly kind of addition by subtraction, but still, that is a return to normalcy. No more trading away your future top 5 picks, things like that. I think that they're going to return to normalcy and get things under control. He didn't have a lot of draft picks this year, but I don't know that next couple seasons they're going to really try to retool and reload this team. And they've got a blank slate. I mean, they're going to have a ton of cap room in a couple years. And then for the Titans, I was going to say a couple other people, but let's just be honest here. Okay, I was going to say maybe Dylan Radins, who was going to be the starting right tackle, but it was Julio Jones. I mean, Julio Jones was just got acquired. I think the report right now is that he was out for a second-round pick that could potentially turn into a first-round pick. Kind of the same thing with that Carson Wentz situation. But Julio Jones, dynamic receiver, outside, opposite of A.J. Brown. They are going to have their continued 2 good receivers, 1 good running back, solid offensive line. They are a dynamite offense. All right, for the questions marks for the teams, okay, the first one for the Colts is Carson Wentz back? Now, for Carson, the problem is that he's a playmaker. He really feels like he has to make a lot of plays. I think that was what got him in trouble with the Eagles the last couple of years, was the fact that he felt like he had to win the game, felt like he had to really rally the troops and make all the plays. Every play was a game-winning play. And you can't play like that. You have to, understand, cut your losses sometimes, throw the ball away, punt it away, things like that. If he can do that with the Colts, they have everything around. They've got a good running game. They've got emerging receivers. They've got a solid, great offensive line. They've got a solid defense. They've got a lot of things going for them. If he can play just solid, I think they are going to be a very, very dangerous team, and they could potentially win every game they play. Biggest question mark for the Jaguars, surprisingly, is not going to be, I think that Trevor Lawrence is so talented that unless he doesn't try, he's going to be just fine. I think the biggest one is Urban Meyer. Is Urban Meyer ready for the NFL? Is he ready for contract negotiations? Is he ready for grown men as opposed to boys? Is he ready for the NFL speed? He's ready for all those things? Again, I think the thing about him, though, is he worked at Bowling Green. He worked at Utah. He worked at Ohio State. He worked at Florida. He worked at all those places. I think he'll figure it out. But that's the big question mark is he going to? Because if he doesn't, man, this is same old Jaguars. The Texans, the answer for that is just, what do we do now? Okay, I think that for the Texans, they need to just void this whole season. If they could just forfeit 17 games, that might be more efficient for them. Just get that number 1 pick, figure it out from there. They need a lot of help because they weren't very good with a star quarterback, so they need every little bit of help they can get. So what do we do now? I anticipate this is the lost season. Like if you're a Texans fan, okay, enjoy the weather, go outside, pick up a hobby, something like that, because football is just, it's not going to be for you in 2021. And then for the Titans, surprisingly, they were 11-5, but their defense was terrible. They were the 5th worst defense in the NFL. They need to flip that around pronto. They picked Caleb Farley, the cornerback from Virginia Tech. I know he had a couple back surgeries, but they're hoping that he can come in and provide some help with them. So they need to figure out defense ASAP. So here we are with the 2021 betting odds for the AFC South. As we see here, now it's very hard to see, but you'll see that the Houston Texans are a massive underdogs. They don't really believe in them. Right around here was the draft, and you saw that the Jaguars made a huge jump. Going down is actually good. It means that you're more likely to win the division. So they were down here at plus 825, still a heavy underdog, but a huge improvement as from where they were. I mean, if they were plus 825, that means, what is this at? That's like plus 1,200. That's terrible. But down here, right neck and neck with each other, we have the Indianapolis at plus 105 and Tennessee at plus 115. So you'll see that the Colts are slightly barely favored right now. Honestly, I bet both of those games are going to be pick'ems. But yeah, it's that. So the division it's ultimately kind of that way. There's two halves. One that's kind of trending in the right direction. Another one is just hoping for 2022. All right, key games that we have. The first one is week 8. It's going to be the Titans at the Colts. This is the last time these two play each other. They play each other early, then they play each other week 8, and then it's done. That game right there is massive down the road, especially if it comes into tiebreakers and things like that. That's one game where you've got 10 more weeks beyond that, but that game is going to be huge because those two teams right now are heavily favored for that first place spot. Next one is week 12. The Buccaneers visit the Colts. The Colts, you can get Carson Wentz. They've got a solid D. They host the defending champs. I think that's a huge game. It's a really good measuring stick, as you see in most of my examples. Whoever plays the Bucs, that's the measuring stick. Okay, they return everybody. They just won the Super Bowl. What are you? Are you a contender or are you not? You at least get them at home. We'll see how that game turns out. Next one we have is week 13. Jaguars play at the Rams. Now also there's week 17. The Jaguars play at the Patriots. Those two games are going to be absolutely massive. And the reason why I think they're going to be massive is because Trevor Lawrence going to one of the best defenses in the league in the Rams, and then he's going to go to the Patriots, and the Patriots they destroy rookie quarterbacks. They've had very, very good success with them. So it's going to be tough either way for both of those games. I just want to see what Trevor Lawrence is going forward. And then the last one I had is week 17. The Dolphins play at the Titans. The reason why that game is so big is because I anticipate that the Colts are going to win the division. So if the Finns, who I don't think are going to win their division, and the Titans are playing, that's going to be a heavy, heavy, heavy wild card race game. So I think that, Dolphins at the Titans week 17, huge game with heavy playoff implications. All right, ultimately what I think is going to happen, okay, Colts are going to take first place. I think Carson Wentz comes in. I think they're just a more complete team than the Titans. I do love the Titans' talent. The cool thing about the Titans is the Titans can go anywhere. Usually you can travel defense pretty well, but you could travel running game, especially a big physical running back like that, especially late in the season. Nobody wants to play the Titans anywhere past week 10. Everybody's going to be hurt. You got to tackle Derrick Henry. Heck no, nobody wants to do that. So I think it's going to be Colts. I think it's going to be Titans. I think it's going to be Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are going to, I'm really interested. All we're trying to see here is Trevor Lawrence development. Everything from there is a multiplier on all the other players. So I think he's actually going to play pretty well. But ultimately, we're going to find out, and we're going to see that watching that progression for him late in the season, especially, is going to be really important. And then for the Texans, like I said, just Houston Texans fans, pick up a hobby, okay? Do something, all right? Root for another team. Don't root for another team, okay? Don't do that, okay? Stick with your boys, okay? I was there pre and post Jamarcus Russell for the Raiders. Texans fans, don't go anywhere. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, just go in the comments. I love the engagement. But beyond that, everybody, I will see you guys on Wednesday. Have a good one.